Welcome to the EPG Pathshala program in Linguistics. I am Pramod Pandey, Principal Investigator of this project. The module is from the course Advanced Phonology. The coordinator of the project is myself, Pramod Pandey, Professor, Center for Linguistics, Jawaharlal Nehru University. The title of the module is Stress and Food in Optimality Theory. The module has been authored by Professor Shamal Das of the Central Tripura University, Agartala. Listen to the presentation. The present module introduces the OT mechanism of accounting for metrical phonology of word stress. Cross-linguistic general principles and parameters are converted into universal constraints, and the evaluation of the optimal output from potential candidates for an input is demonstrated with parallel interaction of the relevant constraints ranked in a language-specific hierarchy. Now, word stress patterns emerge out of conflicting forces, as has been amply noted and discussed at length in pre-OT metrical phonology. Modules 11 and 12 and 13, 14, 15, and 16 present metrical phonology as well as the prosodic phonology, of which metrical phonology is a part. Now, you're expected to be familiar with these modules, and especially with the discussion of the prosodic hierarchy and metrical stress. Two important facts must be noted. Number one, the prosodic hierarchy. As you will see that the prosodic hierarchy at the word level consists of the units such as mora, the syllable, the foot, and the prosodic word. So word stress takes place at the prosodic word level and is related to the lower level prosodic phenomena such as the foot, the syllable, and the mora. The second important property of metrical phonology is the parameters of variation of word stress systems in world languages, as presented in detail in Hayes and summarized in Module 13 in the present course. The parameters are in short the following: quantity sensitivity, which gives rise to two systems, quantity sensitive or quantity insensitive; directionality, metrical feet are raised from right to left or left to right; boundedness, metrical feet are bounded or limited in size to binaries or unbounded; and fourth, dominance. So either the left syllable unit of a foot is dominant, is strong, or the right one. Now this gives rise to all the word stress systems that we find in world languages. Recall that additionally systems may allow degenerate stress feet and may employ extra metricality. So with these concepts in mind, we can proceed to look at the OT account of stress. It's been noted already that in stress languages, all content words, that is noun, verb, adjective, adverb, must be a prosodic word. The latter must contain a foot as its head, and every foot must have a stress syllable as its head, as stipulated by prosodic hierarchy. Now this is dictated by the need to capture the principle of culminativity in terms of an OT constraint. The constraint is formulated as 3 below. Grammatical word is equal to prosodic word. That is, a grammatical word must be a prosodic word. Now, this is the first constraint, metrical constraint that we note. Universally, every grammatical word is a prosodic word, and a prosodic word contains minimally a foot. A powerful cross-linguistic preference in stress languages is rhythm, or regular alternation of strong and weak syllables. This requirement is translated in OT as every foot must be binary as defined by the constraint below, or as you notice it on the screen, foot binary. That is, feet are binary under Moraic or syllabic analysis. Now, foot binary constraint, again. Now, the foot binary constraint has some functions. A key function of foot binary is to exclude a degenerate foot, that is only light foot, which is strongly ruled out in many languages. Another function of foot binary is that it ensures the fulfillment of minimal word condition. So it restricts words to have at least a given number of prosodic units, let's say mora or syllables, and so on. Now, given the possibility that either the left syllable or the right syllable may be strong, we have two different patterns of stress found in world languages. These are also two different types of feet, as you would know, a trochee and an iamb. Within a trochee, stated as you see on the screen, within a foot, every strong element is followed by a weak element. The opposite is the case for iamb. Now, the raising of feet is on account of another metrical constraint, namely parse syllable. That is, syllables are parsed by feet. So all the syllables in a word must be parsed by feet. It's observed across languages that the foot bearing the primary stress within a prosodic word is commonly aligned with the left or the right edge of the word. In OT system, a pair of constraints are proposed to represent the issue in grammar. So we have two alignment constraints: align left, that is, align the prosodic word to the left and the foot to the left, and align right, that is, align the prosodic word on the right to the foot on the right. Now, these constraints based on McCarthy and Prince are peak aligning constraints. In a language where the head foot is a trochee, the most prominent syllable stands aligned with the left edge of the word. And converse is the picture of a language where the head foot is an iamb aligned right with the prosodic word. In a language, for instance, Tripura Bangla, successive feet are not allowed. To address this issue, an OT constraint is invoked, stated as shown on the screen. Foot, foot, that is, feet must not be adjacent. Now is the time to take a look at the constraints and how they interact in a system such as that of Tripura Bangla. OT grammar for Tripura Bangla metrics. In Tripura Bangla, words which have more than two syllables have the patterns of stress as shown on the screen. Take a close look at these patterns. The words that you see on the screen have number of syllables given in increasing order. The first word is of 3 syllables with the stress on the first syllable, the primary stress. The next word has 4 syllables and primary stress is on the first syllable. Words starting from 5 syllables going up to 8 syllables given here have a regular pattern. The first syllable has primary stress, and then the secondary stress is on the fourth syllable in all of them. Now let's turn to some of the generalizations about words in Tripura Bangla that have more than 2 syllables in them. So these are listed on the screen, as you can see. And these are related to the metrical constraints. Each of these features can be explained with the help of a metrical constraint. Every content word is a prosodic word. You have already seen the constraint relevant to it. Binary trochees are constructed from left to right. Iterative successive footing is not allowed. Rhythm is ternary here. Every third syllable after the initial prominence is assigned stress. In 3 and 6 syllable words, the rightmost syllable remains unfooted. In 4 and 7 syllable words, the 2 rightmost syllables remain unfooted. In 5 and 8 syllable words, a final foot is constructed. Primary stress is mandatorily assigned to the leftmost syllable. Now, given the facts of stress in words with more than 2 syllables, the relevant constraints are given on the screen. So, the one which is the strongest, the uppermost, is grammatical word equals prosodic word. Then we have foot binary, it gives you only binary feet. Trochee, the left syllable is stress. Align L, the prosodic word, is aligned with the foot. The foot is aligned with this left syllable. Foot, no foot, 2 adjacent feet are not allowed, stresses are not allowed. Parse syllable, all syllables must be parsed. Given this set of constraints, let's see how they give rise to the optimal form in a form such as Zira B. The form in A is the optimal one. Now, incidentally, this is invaluable. All grammatical words must be prosodic words. The violation of the optimal candidate is minimal. Only at least one syllable is not parsed in this. The candidate in B violates align L. The leftmost syllable is left unfooted. The third form violates foot binary because you have one foot which has one syllable only, and also the fact there's trochee and the fact that there are 2 feet adjacent, and so on. Now let's turn to project the OT grammar for a 4-syllabic word with the same constraint ranking. Something like Vivesona. The same rankings. Look at the violations there. So B crucially violates foot. C and D crucially violate align L. The leftmost syllable is not aligned to feet. You will see on the screen words with increasing number of syllables, namely 5, 6, 7, and 8. These will be presented one after another on the screen. Take a look at them. Forisalona. Forisalona. Now a hexasyllabic word. As you see, it is metrified as having 2 feet with 2 syllables each, and then the third and the sixth syllables are not metrified. So parsed syllable is being violated in all these cases. And one or the other of the other constraints are being violated with the candidates that are not optimal. And these are either high ranked or at the same level but multiple, more than one, more than two actually. So A violates parsed syllable twice, B violates adjacent foot, no adjacent foot, feet, C violates align L, D violates parsed syllable twice, but it's in the middle. E violates parsed syllable multiple times, 6, and F fatally violates trucking. E also fatally violates grammatical word, prosodic word. Now, this time the grammar projected so far fails to yield the attested output. We have a case here where A and D both seem to be equally optimal because both violate the same constraints, parsed syllable twice, and yet A emerges as the optimal form and D is the rejected form. Now the question is, how do you do that? Now a solution to this problem necessitates invocation of another alignment constraint stated below. All foot X, that is all foot either on the left or on the right. The edge X of every foot coincides with the X edge of some prosodic word. Now this is an independently motivated edge-oriented alignment constraint where X refers to either the left or the right edge of a word. Now this constraint keeps the interfeet distance within the permissible limit, requiring all feet to be as close as possible to the designated edge of the prosodic word. In Tripura Bangla, the X stands for left, that is L, and the constraint is all foot L. So the constraint ranking needed to predict the ternary alternation in a 6-syllable word is given on the screen. 18. Now take a look at the tableau for a 6-syllable word. Now in this tableau it becomes very clear as to why A is selected as the optimal form as against D, whereas the A form, the optimal form, violates all foot left thrice, 3 times. The D form violates it, crucially violates it, 4 times. Thus, has to do with the alignment constraint either on the left or on the right that decides the choice of the optimal form. Now, the overall grammar in terms of constraint ranking and their interaction holds good even for larger light syllable sequences, that is 7 syllables, 8 syllables, etc. We need not go into all of them. Let us now turn to monosyllables and disyllables of Tripura Bangla. All disyllabic words constitute a trochee irrespective of the types of the quantity of the syllables. For example, HL, HH, LH, or LL, all of them have the pattern stress unstress. Thus the derivation, the output of the form alu is shown on the screen. Only the pattern stress unstress in a disyllabic word is allowed. All other forms, possible forms, are rejected because they violate one or the other constraints crucially. Now, in fine, we extend the grammar to words of monosyllabic type. For this, let us look at word forms, monosyllabic word forms in two varieties of Bangla and Tripura. Call them TB and SCB. In SCB, we have forms with just one vowel, and in TB, we have forms with two vowels. Now, amora is inserted in the form of the epenthetic vowel. This is to satisfy the need for binary foot at the moraic level. Now, this is preferred in TB, though not exclusive of other means, including phonetic lengthening of the underlying vowel, the addition of a vowel at the end of CVC base, etc. The phonetic lengthening of the underlying vowel is the most common route resorted to by SCB in such cases. For TP words like these, an anti-epenthesis constraint, namely dep mora IO, needs to be invoked. Now, being a faithfulness constraint, it militates against the insertion of any new segment, here a vowel resulting in the insertion of mora. But this has to be ranked very low, below markedness constraints which force insertion. The ranking relation between all foot left and dep mora IO is indeterminate as of now. Now, the efficacy of the projected OT grammar to select the optimal candidate is shown in the tableau on the screen. Thus, we have looked at all these constraints which are at work, which interact with one another in the metrical structure of words in Tripura Bangla. Summary. So you have listened to the discussion of the treatment of stress and foot in optimality theory. We have already had a detailed introduction to this topic in the derivational generative phonology modules, especially modules 11 and 12. This module shows how some of those generalizations which are captured in standard metrical theory can be translated into optimality theory in terms of its constraints and their rankings. Thank you.